I'm Brad Jewett.
I'm Tim, the Trail Man.
Keeping it real.
And now, Brad and Tim.
All right, everybody. We have had a little bit of a slow start today, and I apologize very much, but we're having a wet, cloudy day here in South Texas, and it has kind of thrown our Wi-Fi off a little bit. So I apologize about that. Hello, Tim.
Hello, Bradford. Top of the evening.
Top of the evening. So today we were pulling out old pictures, or I was going through some pictures. Tim sent me some pictures, and look at what we found. Check some of these out. Hold on, let me find. Where'd they go? Hello. Where'd it go?
No, I got my picture.
Did that ever pop up? It never popped up, did it?
No.
I don't know where it went.
Can I show you what I did today?
Sure. Yeah, see if your pictures will work.
How's that?
Oh man, that looks good. Baking some cookies. What kind of? Were those chocolate chip?
Making little cookies. There you go. Yes, sir.
Were they chocolate chip?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
I was inspired by that Ella girl. So.
Who were you inspired by?
Ella, the little girl that works for
for Duke.
Dude, she's the baker, man. She always holds out on me. Never brings me any cookies anymore, except for she did the last show, and I appreciate that. There we go. Oh, that's her.
You see that one?
No, there's it. We are us.
Oh yes.
Go Spurs, go! Go Spurs, go!
Pulling up some old Timmy photos. Check some of these out. Where Tim and I first. Oh, Lakers! Come on, get away. Where Tim and I first.
Oh yeah.
Started.
This is before Keeping It Real.
How about that? Look at Tim. Can you believe that he's wearing?
How young you are.
It's way before Keeping It Real. Look at how skinny my neck is.
Look, no, I have a flip phone. I think I have a flip phone.
You do have a flip phone, and I got some big, massive thing with an antenna on it.
Dude, I got that LSU going on there, though.
It's crazy.
Oh my God,
crazy.
That's just crazy.
We got one more, I know, and this one has a date on it because of the shirt you're wearing.
Imagine that. Yeah. Go Lakers.
Yeah. 2010 champion Lakers.
Yes. I agree.
Of course, I'm a Spurs fan. Then look at how skinny I am there, but look at Spurs fan. Wow. Hey, somebody's got their volume up over there.
That was me.
Somebody don't do that.
I know.
Come on. All right, go Spurs, go Spurs, go. Okay, so we've been waiting for this moment because we have an amazing guest today. She is the executive director at National Snaffle Bit Association, and where we go. And we want to bring her in right now. Miss Stephanie Lynn.
Bristol, Wisconsin.
From Bristol, Wisconsin. Do you have your audio yet? There it is. Are you there, Stephanie?
You're in it.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are live, Stephanie. Thank you for joining us. Are you in Wisconsin at the moment?
I am in Wisconsin at the moment.
Awesome. Well, you're displaying some beautiful trophies there behind you.
Yes. That's the only green we're seeing right now.
I was going to say, the weather looks great in Wisconsin.
Perfect. So how are we doing? Okay, I'm going to jump in. Can I go?
Go, Timmy, go.
I have a question for you first, though. Are you going to share those cookies with us later?
Yeah, I know. I got those two Ballmer sisters here. They're...
When they can figure out that virtually, we're going to be in good shape, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. So just quickly, maybe can you tell us about the virus over there, the COVID virus versus Chicago, and you drive to Wisconsin from Wisconsin and the borders? Sure. I'm curious how that's going over there.
Sure. Yeah. So Chicago's, definitely one of the places that has quite a scare going on. You know, they're not the epicenter that New York is, but they're definitely on the high watch list. And our NSBA offices are about 50 miles north of Chicago. I probably live about 60 or 70 miles north of Chicago. A lot of people commute. It's been probably about 4 weeks ago that, it's been 3 weeks since I've been to the gym, which makes me a little crazy, but you know, several of the people that even went to my gym, they had companies that they had offices in Chicago and on the Wisconsin-Illinois border, and they were not letting people travel back and forth. So we're, you know, each week as the, you know, the news became more serious about it, you know, Chicago started having more and more shutdowns. And so Illinois was, we're in our second week. We're actually supposed to go back to work on, initially we were supposed to go back to work on Tuesday. So they have extended that state, you know, quarantine, shelter at home till the end of April. So Wisconsin was a little late to do that, but again, there's a lot of people that, you know, travel back and forth for work. And, you know, one thing I'd mentioned earlier when we were talking is that, you know, the whole riding situation is so different, and the horse situation here, because we are just now seeing good weather where you can open your barn doors and get the horses out and, you know, maybe think about riding outside. So the roads are definitely quiet. You've got not near the, you know, near the travel that people are from home. I live in kind of a smaller home, you know, housing community, and people are hunkered down and they're working from home. So it's definitely affecting us. Everything is shut down. All the malls, everything's been shut down for 2 weeks. Restaurants, you know, it's definitely a very serious situation here.
Sure.
You know, it's interesting that for the last week, that's not me, that we've seen Washington, Connecticut, Chicago area now, Texas. It seems interesting that we get to branch out and ask everyone from their areas and stuff like that. So it's pretty important, I think. So here we go.
For sure. Well, hey, before we move on, I got to plug my wife because I see she's watching, but she is doing online workouts if you're interested, Stephanie.
I did see it.
Well, she'd probably kick my you-know-what, but I'll join her. So,
well, she could put, if she's still on here, she can type in how people need to log in to be able to join her on that. But no, she's been doing those here now. Everybody's having to work from home, so she's having to do the same thing. So
absolutely
making the most of it.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Timmy. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're right. So I want to dig in and just tell us about your background. Tell us where you're born and how you're introduced to horses.
Sure. I was born in Wisconsin. I had two older sisters and started riding. Actually, I went to my first riding lesson when I was obviously under 5 because they wouldn't let me ride until I was 5. So they kept me in the stroller. And so that's how I witnessed my first riding lessons. Started riding at 5 had a really great hack stable. You know, it was just a total up-down lesson program. I walked for a year before I was able to trot. So we had a really strict German riding instructor. And this is actually a picture of our first pony. And I think there's a picture of 3 muttly little girls with this pony that my sisters always hate. But I think
I might have got that on here. I'm not sure if I've got that one on here or not.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
It's just funny because it was 3 girls and we had to share Billy. And
you did send me that, I remember, but I didn't put that in there. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay. It's just a fun kind of goofy picture.
I want the trophy.
Yeah. Oh wait, here we go.
You want the trophy now? Yeah.
Well, that's me and one of my best friends. That's our little first pony that we shared. And he's the one that gave us our start. That club is actually still there. You can see where the cars are parked. That is the stable where I grew up riding. And then Billy would be facing the riding arena. So yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. I actually still pay for my sisters and I to be members of the club. And it's
awesome.
And yeah, so it's you know, the horse community is such a cool community. And so anyhow, that's how I started. And then again, our trainer did quarter horses, so I started riding quarter horses, and you know, we kind of kept going up that ladder. When I was probably in my early teens, just before I got my driver's license, I started, you know, paying a little more attention to what was going on a national level, and wanted to aspire to do a little more than show in our Minnesota, Wisconsin, tri-state area. And my aspirations kind of had come to a halt when I was 16, 17, and realized that my parents couldn't afford to mount me on the kind of horse that I needed to fulfill what I thought I wanted to do. So I started taking in outside horses, because I could get better horses if I rode somebody else's than if I rode my own. And it was actually during those years that I first met a woman by the name of Diane Eppers. And,
no kidding.
Yeah, she rode up to me at a small indoor arena. We were at probably a spring horse show, and kind of sauntered up and said, "Who are you and what are you riding?" And, you know, just, you know, introduced herself. And I was so flattered, because they were so famous, and
Right.
they had physical ed. I mean, they were everything, and you wanted to dress like they did. You wanted to be like they were, and I was so flattered. But I knew
That's awesome.
Yeah, couldn't afford the service, but I still felt really good about it. But you know,
Sure.
that was the start of our friendship. So that takes you back several decades. So yeah, so then I went from
That's
there
amazing.
and did start school, and you know, bought and sold a few. Yes, at the University of North Texas, back when it was North Texas State University. Yeah, so I started school, and this was actually, I first went to school in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, at the University of Wisconsin, and then had a little 3-year-old for sale, and a woman by the name of Lynn Salvatore Palm came to look at the horse. She said, "Well, I'm not interested in the horse, but I'm interested in you. Are you looking for a job? Would you be interested in being my assistant?" And so I made my father very angry, and finished my semester of school and went to
Ohio, Bradford.
Yep.
I'm looking for it. It's buried over here. Sorry, guys. I'll get it.
So I worked for Lynn for 2 years up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I think when you get this picture, you'll see one of my best friends that I met there at Lynn's, Miss Laurel Champlin. And
There you go.
You seeing it now?
Yep. Yep.
we had lots of fun. We learned a lot. Definitely cut our teeth there. Laurel and we have some fabulous stories to tell. But we had a lot of fun, and learned a lot from Lynn. It was really an awesome experience. Lynn introduced me to people I, again, never would have had an opportunity to meet. It's pretty cool, again, how life comes full circle. She's the one who introduced me to Jack Benson and Jerry Stanford, and, you know,
Wow.
all of those people. She gave me an opportunity to meet them when I was very young, and, you know, I was very awe-inspired by all of them.
Is this a significant horse in this picture?
You know, he did win a lot. I'm so bad at remembering those old names. We called him E.T. because the woman who owned him liked early times, and so we called him E.T. But he did win a lot.
right.
You know, and Lynn, at the time I worked for Lynn, there had been 9 hunt seat fraternities at the Congress, and she had won 8 of them.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
So-
she had quite a winning record.
Is there a memorable horse that you trained or rode or was involved with?
Yeah, Lynn sent me, this is an interesting story too. You talk about stories. I don't know how much you guys like to hear about old stories, but Lynn sent me in this 2-door white and green Ford truck with a matching 2-horse tag-along trailer down to Atlanta, Georgia, to pick up a 2-year-old that was coming off of Carol Harris's farm. And the first thing I remember is that I came out at night to meet Mike Corrington was the trainer's name. And I came out to meet him at dinner, and it was after dark. I think we were maybe we were in southern Georgia, and it was warm outside. I had no idea there was any place in the country where you could go out at night and you didn't need your little Wisconsin starter kit. So that was the first revelation is, oh my God, there's a place it's actually warm at night.
Right.
But that's where we picked up Rugged Lark. And
Wow.
so we had Rugged Lark as
Awesome.
a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. And he was really an amazing athlete and really a good-natured horse. And, but we had Goddess of Love and had a really nice horse for Chris Darnell at the time. We had a lot of nice horses. Lynn had some good stock for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So can I go backwards and ask you about the book now? Like the book that you wrote, because you
Oh,
put
yeah.
the picture up there.
I did put it up there, but we were talking about her plaid pants
Right.
there for a second.
I know.
So
Always making a fashion statement, right?
yeah, we'll go back to that.
Yeah. Back to
Yeah,
that
so what I
slicker.
especially,
Plaid pants and pigtails.
I
Yeah.
know.
Wow.
And did you notice that the yellow bow in my hair also matches the fringe on Little Billy's
Oh,
pom-pom?
yeah. Wow.
The
Wow.
red and the red plaid doesn't really match the brown and the yellow, but you got to get it going on.
And you said that was your first trophy?
It was my first trophy, yes, sir.
Can I ask what class it was?
Probably the pony pleasure or the horsemanship.
Pony pleasure horseman. Wow. Good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Great job. And tell me what inspired you to write the book?
Well, I'm sort of a next thing girl, and I like the physical part of writing. I like to put the words on the paper. And so I had kind of started doing a little dabbling with writing and, just kind of looking at what was next. I had been asked from, the Quarter Horse Journal or a couple different places to, guest author articles and, just like everybody does, a lot of people get that opportunity. So the infamous 7 kept saying, you should write a book and it should be, your first book should be a bit of a memoir. And so I took their advice and wrote the book. And it was really, again, I think I mentioned to you guys when I was looking at the cover, the advice from the professionals was to, use a world champion picture, use one of your win pictures.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I wanted to use that picture because it's not really my story, it's everybody's story. And the horses have been so good to us. I actually wrote the book pretty late in my career as far as, when I was blowing and going up and down the road. I'd been very fortunate to have a lot of great customers and great horses. And again, it's everybody's story. I mean, the horses have been so good to us. And as professionals in the industry, we know that the horses have helped individuals through very difficult times, and they've been their therapy.
Sure.
And so we're kind of their guide in that therapeutic path that they're taking. And so the book was just another way for me to express it. I had one gal's, amateur. She said, I'm so glad that you wrote that book. My husband read it and he said, now I get it. Now I get why you're horse crazed.
Awesome.
So
it's a suggested read for any husbands or fathers or some that
Right,
don't get what makes a girl so horse crazy. All right.
Yeah,
There
and
you
like
go.
I said, it's really just everybody's story. It's just all the good things that we learned from showing horses, and it's who we are. So, yep.
Wow.
Awesome.
Okay, so do I do my thing right now, Bradford?
Let's do some rapid fire questions.
Uh-oh.
Okay, this is the best. So
Heads up.
10
Heads up.
questions,
heads up.
okay? 10 questions. Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What's your favorite style of restaurant that you like to dine at?
Mexican.
Excellent.
Yes.
Your standard cocktail of choice?
Cabernet.
There you go. Favorite country to visit outside the USA?
Well, I haven't been to a lot of countries, but I would have to say Italy.
Italy, great.
Nice. Nice.
Favorite type of music?
Alternative rock.
Any special artists or groups?
I wouldn't have that. Yeah.
Not really, because again, I'm so bad about knowing the names.
You know the word, you know the tune, right? But
Yeah, that's right. I can
get
sing
you.
it.
I got you.
What
I'm
What
backing
do
you
you-
up on that.
What do you order at Starbucks?
Actually, my new drink of choice at Starbucks is a green, the matcha tea with coconut milk.
Okay.
Wow.
I know. Like that. What show do you watch on
Remembers
Netflix?
what to drink, just not the name of the band.
Right.
What do you like to
Sorry.
watch on Netflix?
I don't have Netflix. I'm
Wow.
so old school.
Oh.
Can you believe it? I have to go to lunch and hear what everybody's watching on Netflix.
Do you still do VHS and DVDs?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you're not that old
I
school.
could probably dig one up for you.
What's your favorite meal to cook at home?
I've gotten really, really good at tenderloins in the skillet. So I
Ooh,
like
yum.
to do those fillets in a cast iron skillet.
Yum.
Name
And
your
then anything
favorite.
with onions.
Name your favorite airline to travel on.
Used to be Delta, but now I'd say it's probably American.
Okay, very good. Name 2 of your all-time favorite movies.
Oh my goodness. The Proposal.
Wow, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And
I'd agree.
probably a toss-up between The Parent Trap and The Devil Wears Prada. I like the dorky chick flick happy movies, and I
So
just do.
is that a glimpse into when you walk into the office at NSBA?
Oh, we do. I'm telling you, Bill Caven, he is really a good movie buff. And so we've got a couple people who are really good at the movie lines. So
Awesome.
it's pretty funny. Yeah.
Okay, so my
Awesome.
last one is, how often do you look at Facebook after work? 0. Good job. Good job. Except for 7 o'clock.
Yes. Yeah, it's late for me.
7 to 8. 7 to 8 for us, right? Okay. Those are my 10. That's very good. I appreciate that. That was fun. That was fun. Good to know.
Stellar. Really, she like snapped to those. And just so y'all know, we did not give her those questions prior. Those questions were all like snap. So I'm impressed. Like, she knows what she likes to eat. She knows what she likes to drink at Starbucks. That was very impressive. So this is about the time that we take our break. We thank our sponsors, and we do want to mention our lineup for next week. We have a fabulous lineup starting next week, including Shane Rux, the photographer, Charlie Cole, Gil Gallion, and of course our Type the Topic Thursday. So we have quite a week stacking up. So everybody stay tuned. If you know anybody that is not a Facebook fan of Keeping It Real, please have everybody go on there, because this is where you will do it. And Gino, she gets a backdrop because she knows how to work a computer.
She did herself.
That's why she got a backdrop.
Right.
She did it herself.
I saw that too.
So there, take
Run
that,
those
Gino.
commercials. Here we
So
go.
we're going to take a little moment for our station.
And we'll come back. We'll go NSBA.
Sounds good.
Keeping It Real is brought to you by
Kimes Ranch Jeans, Blue Ribbon Custom Tack, Letchworth Bits and Spurs, JewettEquine.tv, Chauffeur Dough, Silver Dollar Circuit, Horseman's Future, Unishippers.
And now, back to Brad and Tim.
All right, so we are back, and Stephanie's not with us.
Can I say something real quick while she gets back?
Yes.
Dean Thompson is out there. I'm just telling you, I still got the rope, okay? This rope is supposed to hold me in so I don't keep going forward and backwards. So, Dean, I'm still doing it after 1 week. I still like to lean forward, but I'm still
He
got my
still
rope.
has his seatbelt. He still has
Tie
his
myself
seatbelt.
in so I don't lean forwards because I can't hear.
We have some new people showing up tonight. We had Angie Canizaro come in here.
Yeah, I saw that too. Hi, Lisa.
Hey. Julie Kennedy, thank you for looking forward to our happy hour every night. We appreciate you. Lisa Correccia, I'm sure thank you for being here every night. But we've got some new people here. We are very happy to have you. But now we are getting into the nuts and bolts of the National Snaffle Bit Association. Now we've gotten to know Stephanie on the first half of our program, and now we're going to have her switch hats a little bit, switch gears, and tell us a little bit about what's going on with the National Snaffle Bit Association. So Tim's got some questions lined up for her. If there's something that you guys would like to ask or to know that we maybe don't have or we haven't asked them, please, by all means, type it in here. And if we've got time, we'll certainly ask her.
So I'll try not to ask a lot of questions at once, but first is how did you start your involvement with the NSBA?
Well, like a lot of people, my involvement started as a competitor. And then again, I had served on a lot of committees. I started raising my hand pretty young. And Diane also had started raising her hand pretty young. We had served on a lot of committees together. You know, and as I mentioned, I'm kind of a what's next kind of girl. And so when the opportunity came along, it was for me a really, the only difficult part of it was that I had to move. That was the only difficult part of the decision. But the opportunity for me to continue to share my passion for the horses with a broader community was just, like I said, it was just a no-brainer for me. I love the horses and I love what the horses do for people. And
yeah.
so any way I can share that. And, you know, I think I mentioned I had, I've mostly done my business by myself with an assistant, and usually it was a female assistant. And so the weight of going up and down the road and, you know, hauling that rig and fixing those flat tires and worrying about my customers, it just became heavier. So the opportunity couldn't have come at a better time for me.
Sure.
So what changes in your job, because you're originally the director of operations and now you're the executive director, like what are your new responsibilities when you changed over?
Well, this is definitely a transitional year. You know, Diane is still working in the office. She has not even slowed down to do less than 40 hours a week.
No kidding.
You know, even
Surprise,
just get to
surprise.
40 hours a week, right? So, so it's definitely a transitional year. She's, you know, been such an awesome leader for all of us, and so a lot of it for me is just really actually stepping into some of those roles that she has done and stepping into them alongside her. So some of it's not very different. Diane's always been very good at sharing and involving all of us in decisions that are made. So this year is, like I said, definitely very transitional. But we all wear a lot of hats. Diane is really good about training us in, you know, customer service and making sure that we can answer questions. We're very fortunate at NSBA to have such a great staff. Almost everybody has worked in the industry in some capacity. So there's not a person there that doesn't know what's going on. It was really funny. I had to like keep Nicole from jumping through the phone line when somebody called and they were asking about when the patterns were going to be out for the World Show. Oh, and I said, well, the team that's putting them together is, you know, just they're in a review process and they should be up by whatever the date was. And she said, the girl on the other end, she says, oh, so it's not horse people that make the patterns. I'm like, actually, it is horse people who make the pattern. So like I said, we're really fortunate, you know, if we have something that we don't think, I mean, you know, we put together the team and we go out there and ride the pattern and say, okay, well, this isn't going to work, but this will. So, yeah. You know, again, Tim, you've worked hard with Nicole to make sure things fit for the horses, and SBA offers a lot of different classes. So it's important that the class structure is appropriate for the level. So anyhow, you know, we all do wear a lot of hats at the office. So you know, my role is definitely to keep it all together and make sure that everybody there has the tools they need to do a good job, and to keep looking at the bigger picture.
I for one on that subject, at the NSBA World or any NSBA event that I ever go to, I always find the staff very accommodating, positive. If they don't know the answer, willing to find the answer out as soon as they possibly can. And especially, as we all know, sometimes the days can be long and the hours can be grueling. And when you've got grumpy trainers and exhibitors and all that, wanting only they think that they're the first ones to have asked the question or whatever. That's a difficult job. And so I really applaud NSBA and their ability to be able to manage the many different arenas and keep the peace for the most part. I mean, I know that there's always something that comes up here and there, but they just do a very good job of finding an opportunity to make something negative into something positive.
Well, thank you. We appreciate
very tricky, no doubt, especially conflicts and everything. So can you just tell me like a typical day at the NSBA office for you, not having meetings, but just like things that you have to kind of oversee or look at or check with Nicole or whomever and everybody. And then let me start with that question, and I'll ask you one more after that.
Sure. So, you know, again, we do wear a lot of hats at the office, and I always come to the office with great intentions and, you know, my little to-do list. And I always feel like I've done something well if at 5 o'clock I've done the first thing on my list, because you know, you just sometimes don't know what's going to happen when you get there. And we have a database that we're constantly trying to improve. I have learned so much more about IT. I think anybody who has been a horse trainer and then transitions into any kind of association work is always amazed at how much work you do in front of the computer. Today I was trying to load on our website an article for horsemen about where to go for some of these SBA loans and some of this stuff, and I couldn't get the links to open in a new page. And you know, so that's just, it's kind of like cleaning your stalls. You know, you just get done cleaning it and the horse turns around and goes again, and you're like, really? I just had this stall cleaned. So you know, we do all of that, whether it's you know, Nicole needs help stuffing envelopes, then we all pack up in the conference room and we stuff envelopes, you know. So a lot
That's
of
awesome.
communication, a lot of outreach, you know, that's a big part of any upper management's job, is to make sure that people are being communicated with. And when there's something that doesn't go properly, whether it's a check that's not received by somebody or a paper that went out that was incorrect, that they're handled quickly and, you know, smoothly, and that it's that we get it corrected right away. So it really, you know,
So can I ask a question
it's
with that one?
membership, it's marketing, it's.
So here's a big question. What's like the one or two most common questions that you get a lot of, a common question you get a lot of that we can say tonight that maybe they won't call in so many times, or is that?
Sure. So I think one of the things that we do a little different with our programs is you do have to be a member to enroll your horses. One of the questions, our questions are very seasonal. So right now, we're getting to the end of the breeding season. So our Stallion Incentive Fund horses that have not sold, that is right now something that we're trying to follow up on, because those foals born in the 2020 year are not eligible to be enrolled in the Stallion Incentive Fund until that stallion sells this year. So again, it really depends on the season. In the fall, we'll get a lot of questions about the enrollment for the Breeders' Championship Fraternity and the Color Breeders' Championship Fraternity, and, you know, enrolling those foals. We did drop, I mean, I don't know if this is where you want to go now, but we did drop our qualifying. So that typically this time of year is a question that we get a lot of. And when our qualifying gets, you know, when we get back to normalcy, our qualifying is based on participation, and the horse and rider team, if you're a youth or an amateur, has to compete in the class they're qualifying in. So that is in the respective class, and they have to qualify by competing 5 times under 5 NSBA judges. So again, there's sometimes some confusion between, well, I won everything at the AQHA level, how come I didn't do better in the NSBA?
Right.
So they don't always understand that they entered and showed to 6 AQHA judges or 4 APHA judges, but only 2 NSBA judges.
So to clarify that, everybody, talking about the 2020 NSBA World Show, the qualification has been dropped, waived. That's a better word for it. and if I'm correct, so if you get there, there's no late fee to enter a class, anything like that
Well,
for
they'll
like,
still set, yeah,
well, I mean, qualification late fee. I
correct.
understand they have to enter the class by a certain time frame, but as far as qualification late fees, if you didn't qualify in the year, you don't have to pay
That is
fee.
correct. That is
Okay.
correct. And then beginning May 1, the qualification period will commence for the 2021 World Show.
Excellent. Nothing's changed with the breeders' fraternities or anything like that?
It's only grown. It's only grown. We have those
Awesome.
3-year-olds in the Color Breeders' Championship fraternity that will now have their own 3-year-old classes. So we've added classes for that division, and
Wow,
yeah.
awesome.
Yep.
So maybe right there I can ask one of my questions is, what classes or what is your proposal of expansion of the World Show, like what you're just mentioning? Is there anything else that
Yep.
you want to talk about at that moment of the World Show, classes or schedule? Or
while we're on that subject, for sure, any new classes to the 2020 World Show?
Yes, we added some additional hunter classes. We added the select division and the hunters, and
wow,
we
awesome.
added the working hunter under saddle.
great. So my other question.
Oh, and pleasure driving was new last year, but that's, I guess, not new this year. So
I'm curious, I had this question: how does NSBA and all the breed associations communicate and work together on horse shows that have multiple approvals?
So we have a really good relationship with all of the breed organizations and our affiliates. Our shows, an NSBA approval is secondary to the breed sanction show. So our dual approved events were never intended to compete with a breed organization, but to complement the breed organization. So they have to first be registered with AQHA, APHA, ABRA, Palomino, whatever the sanctioning organization is. We also share all of our records. So we provide reports, so they have NSBA earnings and they can try to keep better records for the leveling, especially that's so difficult with the money in the different organizations.
So can we backtrack real quick, because and I think this is a good point on the working hunter under saddle, because as I don't know how many people have read about or heard about that new class, and so could you just kind of give who's eligible to show that class?
Yes, so at the NSBA World Championship show, only those horses that are competing over fences at the NSBA World Championship show will be eligible to show in the class. And if they show in the working hunter under saddle, they are ineligible to show in the senior hunter under saddle or one of the other more traditional hunter under saddle classes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That may be a question that maybe will save you a few phone calls by answering that.
Thank you.
Okay, so here's the big one. Now, can you tell us a little bit about the Tomorrow's Horseman program?
Yes.
Tomorrow's Horseman is really, really an outstanding achievement for the NSBA Foundation, and I can't say enough about the NSBA Foundation board members and our development director, Lynn Campbell. They've worked really hard, and Lynn is always telling us she's always saying, who do you know? And you go back and you look at our histories at our time in our lives, it's really easy to say, like I said, I met Diane when I was 16 years old, and here we are decades later. I still have a tremendous relationship with Lynn Palm, same thing. Laurel's one of my best friends, you know. We're a tight-knit group and our relationships mean so much. And Rick and Mary Jo Meredith funded the program through Mary Jo's family. Her mother's trust, the Mary F. Atkinson Family Trust, funded the 2-year program. Again, one of my early clients was Joetta Meredith, and she was with me for, I don't know how long. It wasn't a real long time, but we have had a very good relationship all this time. So the program is really an amazing program. We had a selection period of 2 months, or an application period of 2 months. The program is really directed toward the, as the title says, as for tomorrow's horsemen. We wanted to work with a group of horse trainers that we thought would be leading the industry for the next coming decades, plural, and
Plural.
would be in our leadership positions in decades into the future. So we had an application process that was about 6 weeks long, and the application deadline was December 1st. And we chose 10 individuals, and it was really based on whether they were sole proprietors, what their merits were as far as what they were looking for in the industry, what they were hoping to accomplish and achieve in the industry. So we feel like we have just an outstanding group of young horsemen. They represent different areas. They're not all quarter horse people. They're not all pleasure horse trainers. Some of them are heavier into the lessons. Some of them are heavier into the hunt seat. So it's really a great diverse group. And our model for the program was to guide them through and help them see how they can achieve success financially in the horse business. We want them to stay in the business, raise their families in the business, and be here for decades to come.
Well, I know there's a lot more we need to talk on it, but before we get too far away from the beginning of it, basically anyone can go on and fill out the application for this. Is that correct?
No, it's a closed program. So we have a class of 10 individuals that will follow for 2 years, and we'll meet with them for 2 years.
So nobody fills out an application for this. You guys hand pick people.
Nope, there was an application process. We had, I think, 21 applicants, and then we got down to our final 10. We had a selection committee that chose the 10. But this class graduates in December of 2021. And then providing that we get charitable donations to provide another course, we will then accept applications beginning next year, and we would do the same for a new class of 10 individuals.
So that's where I'm going with it is once this class is graduated, is there specifics as to who can actually apply, or could this apply to anyone?
You have to be an NSBA member, and you have to be a sole proprietor.
Okay.
So your assistant couldn't apply as an assistant, but if they were going out on their own in December 1st, then they would be, accepted or could be applicable based on their status as a sole proprietor once they went out on their own.
Awesome. So what is a specific, is there classrooms? Is there, what does a day look like or a week look like for these guys?
Yep. So we started out with our first face-to-face session in February and had, kind of a welcome dinner the night that they arrived. We try to be very mindful of their time. They come in on a Monday afternoon. We work a little bit Monday night, all day Tuesday, half a day Wednesday, and then we get them back on the airplane and back home where they can keep running their business. So Tuesday's a very long, heavy day, and in our first session, we supplied all of the attendees with a QuickBooks program. So we made sure it was on their computers, and we helped them enter, the timing was very good. It was just February, so we helped them enter all of their banking information, all of their income and expenses for the year, help them, kind of learn their way around QuickBooks. A lot of them had already been using the online platform, but the desktop version is so much more robust. They were using maybe 5% of what QuickBooks can do for them. So there's a very, very heavy financial component. And we understand that they may not always do all of their billing, but we want them to fully understand what their financial statements mean, how to read a balance sheet, how to look at their budgets. So because of the virus, we were intending to have our second session the 26th through 28th of April. So because of the virus, we are going to do that virtually. They will each have a consultation with our financial facilitator. His name is Chad Horkey. He works for one of I think the 4th largest accounting firm in the world, RSM US LLP, and he's a CPA and a senior director there. So they'll get consultation with Chad, go through their budget. They'll look at, how they're adjusting it based on the changes that have just happened. And so we'll do much more with them in a virtual setting. And then, and our other portion of the Tomorrow's Horseman is to work on what we kind of call their services. So that's, how do you establish your brand? So, what do you look at for your insurance? What kind of policies and procedures do you have in place? How do you communicate with your clientele? How do you build your brand? Those types of things. So again, to use a popular catchword right now, we did a pivot, and instead of bringing them insurance needs, which we know they also have requirements for, we changed our curriculum to be more about crisis management and how they can change their business, what they can do for their business to help manage their business through this time. Again, our goal with this program is to help them be successful in whichever aspect that is, and to build on their strengths and to let them help strengthen our industry.
That's amazing. Very, very, so it is very heavy in the financial realm is what you're telling us. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. So there'll be some financial planning, there'll be tax strategy. We'll have people come speak about the lease versus own, people talk about the legality, why you need to have contracts.
Sure.
We all know that sometimes you should have something, whether it's insurance or you should really be paying your staff as a employee, not a contract laborer, and just really helping them understand those differences and what it means to them materially at a different point in their lives.
Awesome.
Okay, so that's a great program. I love it, right? We talk
Amazing.
about that
Amazing.
talk about that all the time on this program about the younger trainers, the guys, for the next generation, to help them, right? Everyone wants to help those young guys, right?
Well,
and girls.
what was Leonard's answer to the question back when we had the Professional Horseman of the Year on here, when we asked him, what's one of the most important pieces of advice you would give a young trainer starting out? Know how to manage your money.
Don't get in debt.
Don't go in debt.
Right.
And so what a great opportunity to have these young potential trainers, lesson givers, coaches, whatever they may be, to have somebody like Chad.
Well, us too,
how to be effective.
So we have Matthew on Tuesday, Gino, he's a CPA too.
Yeah.
So the people that understand how to manage their money, the younger ones or the older ones too, how to manage their money, they're going to make it. If you don't know how to manage your money, something's going to happen. Something's going to give out. So
yeah.
I think that they're oftentimes so engrossed in getting the horses ready and doing what their passion is, and they're so engrossed in that it's hard for them to see the value in taking the time to spend that day and look at your books and to really look at your budget and make a decision as to whether that third truck and trailer going up and down the road is making you money or costing you money. It might seem like that's the way to go. I'm going to take 24 horses to the horse show. Well, guess what? At 18, you started losing money. So,
right.
Just helping them to think that through and really have a plan. I'm sure Matthew talked a lot about it, and I'm sure Gino did too. They're smart guys, and I'm sure they talked about it.
So, can I keep going? Got one more question I'd like to get to.
Absolutely.
So, what do you think the future is, the direction besides the young kids? Like NSBA, what's your direction for next couple years, next upcoming years, okay? Like what do you see in the near future? And then what do you enjoy most about working for the NSBA?
Okay, so as far as the future, I see I'm definitely the future as a bright kind of girl. I see opportunity everywhere. I see our breed shows shrinking, and I see no lack of interest in horses and horse people. And Tim and Brad, I'm sure you get hundreds of inquiries. And you look at what Charlie Cole just did, that is an expression of the interest in the industry. People want to learn, and we need to provide, we meaning administration and associations, need to provide venues that they can afford to go to that fit their lifestyle. We have grown bigger than their lifestyles, and it's become difficult. So I'm going to segue completely away to something that you guys may or may not be aware of, but NSBA is sponsoring a new Open Horse Show Association, and it is geared towards that exact model of allowing those people to have a platform where they can still learn, they can still be celebrating their accomplishments, and they can have a national platform to do it on, but they can go show at their local horse show. And I see the future, like I said, as being very bright. And, you know, we all grew up in that time when the paint showed with the apps and they showed with the quarter horses. And, you know, I actually studied quite a bit of economics in school and have a degree in finance myself. So I'm a cycle girl. And I kind of see the cycle going back to where we have more all breed horse shows together. And there'll be a time when they get too big and we don't have time to do the paints and the apps and the quarter horses together. We got to go back and do our separate horse shows again. So I think that we'll see a consolidation period where you have more of those all breed classes. That's what NSBA can really help those breed associations, because if a paint show is struggling and the bulk of their trainers have paint horses, but they might have a quarter horse or two, and gosh, it would sure be nice to bring them to the horse show. Well, they can have an NSBA all breed class, and they can put both those horses on the horse trailer. So I think we'll see that, and I think we'll see a surge in the open show. People want to show their horses, and they still maybe have to go to Johnny's soccer tournament or you know, banquet on Saturday night, and that's at 7 o'clock, and that's just as important as Susie's horse show. So they have to find local ways and ways that they can do it within their lifestyles. So I'm far from down on the industry. I mean, I think some of our breed numbers don't always look good, but again, it's a consolidation and it'll grow. It's no different than a big company. You know, you have we had what, 4, you guys are probably beer drinkers. We had 4 breweries in the United States, and then 3, and then 2, and now I don't know that we have any big ones, but look at all the microbreweries. We have hundreds, thousands of microbreweries. It's, you know.
So my last one, just to make sure I finalize this. I just lost it. Oh, what's your most favorite thing about working for NSBA?
Oh gosh, that's hard to say, because I absolutely love the people I work with.
Yeah.
And I love, you know, like I said, I'm an opportunity girl. I love the opportunity. I love seeing where we can do something better, where there's a hole in the industry and there's something we can do. Hey, look, we can help.
Right.
We have an idea. We think we can change it. And we have, you know, sometimes have some working lunches, and we throw a lot of spaghetti on the wall and, you know, come away with something that, you know, we think is good. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes you try it and it's not what the market wants. But we're small enough and nimble enough. We're fortunate again in that capacity that we're able to make some changes that some of the bigger organizations have more trouble doing. We also look at one segment of the industry where they have racing and reining and cutting and all the roping events. You know, they have so much more than we do.
So I just had a question pop up. Sorry, but because we got started a little late due to the Wi-Fi. So this is kind of an interesting question, and AQHA can probably have the same thing, ask them, but how will you guys handle your High Point Awards at the end of this show year? Have you even thought about that yet? I'm not trying to open up a can of worms, but it's actually a question. You know, when we have so many horse shows that, you know, people have missed and stuff, is that you just taking into account the missed months, or you're just going, everybody was in the same boat, so we're just going to go with what we have, or has that even been talked about yet?
Yeah, I think that at this point, you know, there isn't a reason to believe that we would change it or alter the current process for it. You know, I think everybody's hope is that we get back to showing horses sooner rather than later. And we're seeing a pretty equal shutdown of horse shows across the nation in the latter part of March. And I don't think we have any horse shows on the docket for April. And, so we're starting to see some in May close. So it's a great question, but I don't foresee any changes at this time.
Very good.
I think we got a lot
Very
covered
good.
in that.
I think so. And if there's anything that we missed, Stephanie, that you feel that you'd love to share at this moment with the audience, because we're averaging 1,500 to 2,000 people going back, if not watching live, going back and watching it. And it's amazing how many people are watching the whole thing. So we're thankful that everybody is enjoying the show for sure. But if there's anything you'd like for them to know, please, by all means, here's your opportunity.
Well, what I'd like them to know, this isn't really NSBA, but I think it defines who NSBA is. We are horse people, as are the AQHA, APHA, all of them. And as a community, we help each other. And part of what we do as a horse community is to help those who maybe don't have all of the tools that we have had. And so I ask anybody who's watching this and who wants to do more to reach out to whoever that person is that's in their neighborhood. When we first went from the professional horsemen to try to do that ride the pattern, there were a lot of naysayers. They will never come, they will never do it, they will never, it was just no, no, no's. And I said, well, actually, I've identified 15 disciplines and I've asked 15 trainers if they would teach it, and I haven't had one person say no. I think this is one of the most giving groups, and to be asked your opinion, people love to share. As horsemen, we love to make sure that other people have the tools that they need and that they do things right with the horses. So I ask, as an industry, and as somebody that's out there interested in the horses, that you not be afraid, that you text Brad Jewett, you Facebook Tim Kimura, whoever is in your area, you reach out, because if they don't know, they'll put you in touch with somebody who can help you. So stay connected with your horses, keep riding, keep reaching out to those people, and never be afraid to call your associations. Certainly anybody at NSBA, I mean, that is, we're very proud of the fact that our board members are all out in the community. Talk to any one of them. They will, like I said, if they don't have the answers, they will help you find the answers.
Fantastic. Well said. And what a great representation you are for NSBA. Well, I'm thankful to have you in the position that you're in. I'm sure that Diane is as well, because we all know that Diane has put her blood, sweat, and tears into it, and to know that she's going to be handing it over at some point, even though she's still putting her 40 hours a week in now, she has to feel very relieved knowing that you're just every part that you spoke about tonight. I could hear the passion, the drive, the desire, the joy, the hope about it all. And so I think that's what we all need moving forward out of this time that we have right now. This isn't going to last forever. So we thank you. We thank you for your time tonight, Stephanie.
Thanks for the opportunity, and good job, guys. Again, I have to applaud what all of the professionals are doing to be creative and to keep people riding. I applaud your efforts. It's awesome.
Well, thank you very much. We'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening in Wisconsin.
All right.
And now I have to watch Facebook at 7 o'clock every night.
There you go. That's right. We just had Justin Billings on here, so everybody's got to do their part and help support and help reach out and keep spreading it. Because remember, and we'll let Stephanie go so she doesn't have to carry on here. But Stephanie, thank you very, very much again for coming on. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oops. Hold on. There we go. So we just want to share again what our lineup is for next week. We've got Shane Rux coming in on Monday. We've got Charlie Cole coming on Wednesday. We've got Gil Gallion coming in on Friday. So we have got another stacked week full of great interviews, inspiration. So please pass this on. When you log off tonight, please go to Keeping It Real and share it with all of your friends. Please, we want to see everybody. We want to have some really tough questions for Charlie Cole, Gil Guy, and Shane Rux. We're going to have a lot of fun too, because Shane Rux is bringing some old pictures with him when he comes in, and we're going to play a little trivia. We're going to keep it real, people. Y'all have a great night tonight. Keep safe. Stay home. Do your part. Love you guys.
Come back Monday.
This has been a Kona Cam production, brought to you by Kimes Ranch Jeans, Blue Ribbon Custom Tack, Letchworth Bits and Spurs, JewetEquine.tv, Chauffeur Dough, Silver Dollar Circuit, Horseman's Future, Unishippers. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.